tougher than we are. We see that. They're being physical. They're gooning the game up, and we got to do the same thing. So we got to be tougher mentally and physically.
Tyler said he thought you guys were gooning it up a little bit.
Say that word? Gooning.
Gooning.
It's a good word, man. We're going to be smart, use our heads, and, nobody's going to get thrown out of any games or anything like that. And, we just going to compete. Competitive level can go up. And, that's about it.
Welcome to SI Now. I'm Robin Lundberg here with Ryan Aselta. And Ryan, if we're listening to Ty Lue, it's Goons 2, Cavs 0. What do you make of that comment?
Well, he's right, and it's okay. Yeah, that's what the Celtics are doing, and that's okay. Remember, this is a young Celtics team trying to knock off a veteran Cavs team that's won 3 straight Eastern Conference titles here. They're too young to fear LeBron and the Cavs. That's what's going on here, and they are mucking it up. They are scrapping. They're being physical. They're playing strong defense. And let's face it, it's knocked the Cavs off their game. Everyone outside of LeBron is kind of shriveling up a little bit as the goons have gotten under their skin.
Yeah, and as a result, I mean, we could be seeing the end of the LeBron James finals run in real time, right? I mean, at this point, you might list it as probable that the Celtics beat the Cavs. After Game 1, you go, all right, LeBron didn't play well, no big deal. Game 2, LeBron was great, and they still lost, and it wasn't particularly close in the second half. I mean, the rest of the roster, Boston has such an advantage, and I'm through sleeping on them. I knew they were good, but at some point you thought it would catch up to them, having their top guys down with injuries, especially Kyrie, and the ability for him to create his own shot. But they are so fast, so athletic, so long, and everybody has been aggressive off the dribble, whether it's Rozier or Smart or Morris.
They have no answer for those
Tatum.
guys. Yeah.
Everybody's attacking.
Yeah, and let's dive more into that. LeBron and this finals run possibly coming to an end in real time here. Is that what's happening? Is it coming to an end, or is there something you think the Cavs can make an adjustment? We saw the Tristan Thompson adjustment that worked for Cleveland. It just wasn't enough.
Yeah, I'm saying the Cavs still have a chance, of course. LeBron has a puncher's chance. I'm not counting him out in this series. I almost wouldn't count him out of any series outside of maybe the Golden State Warriors. The Cavs adjustments, though, I don't really see them. I mean, play better. That's basically the adjustment at this point. And there's a couple guys who probably shouldn't be playing. Jeff Green played way too many minutes in that game. Rodney Hood probably shouldn't see the floor again at all. The problem is there aren't exactly these great alternatives. J.R. Smith, another perfect example. He was having an awful game. But who do you go to outside of J.R.? I mean, Kevin Love played well. Kyle Korver has been a consistent contributor. Otherwise, it really is LeBron and the he doesn't have any help narrative that people like to say that's actually true, and anyone who's watching it sees it.
Yeah, the play better narrative is true here. Anyone not named James or Love has got to step up. When you look at the names you're talking about, J.R. Smith, George Hill. I mean, are you kidding me? These guys, Jeff Green, these guys were 8 for 32 combined in the first 2 games and combined for 25 points. That's pathetic. That can't hang with a team that's got 6 players in double digits in Game 2. You can't hang in that type of situation. LeBron's going to make an adjustment. He'll come out gangbusters in Game 3 at home, like we saw last night.
He scored 21 in the first quarter.
But that's it. It's not enough. Someone else has to step up and chip in a little bit here.
And one of the other storylines from Game 2 was Tatum's shoulder hitting LeBron right in the jaw. And it was listed as a neck strain. There were some people wondering if he could possibly have a concussion. I think LeBron's databases ran the concussion protocol. Do you think that affected him at all in the second half?
I tried to make a case for it, but looking at the stats, I mean, he really scored half of his points after getting hit, though that was not a neck strain. Did you see LeBron stretching his neck when he went to the free throw line? No, that was a dazed look on his face. He fell forward on his first free throw. Then he walked off the court and honestly, it looked like he didn't really know where he was for a little while there. Perfect signs of concussion, but this isn't the NFL. They don't have the little tent to put him on the side of the court and check him out.
LeBron got rocked right in the jaw and still kept coming. That's why I find it laughable for anyone to say, oh, he couldn't play in an old school era. It would be too tough for him when people could put their hand on your back. LeBron James, the expectations for him are put at such an absurd level, and he continues to meet them. He probably will meet them again in Game 3 of this series. For more on the NBA Conference Finals, I'm here with the host of SITV's Crossover TV, Matt Dollinger. And Matt, as both of us are big NBA guys, Do you think the NBA Finals are going to be anticlimactic no matter what happens? Can we at least spin, hey, if the Celtics win, they might match up better defensively with the Warriors?
I don't want to be a bummer, but I'm worried that it's going to be just that. I mean, the Warriors have looked so dominant. We really built up the Rockets as the ultimate Warriors test, and they kind of rolled over them after they figured them out the first couple quarters. And the Celtics, I mean, what does it say about the Eastern Conference that a team's going to advance to the finals and doesn't have their two best players? This isn't how it's supposed to be. So as much as I would love an entertaining finals, I'm worried that we should savor these last few conference finals games before it gets even uglier.
Now, I honestly do think the Celtics match up with them best defensively, but you worry about the top-line offense and, of course, the absence of LeBron in a final series. Yeah. Do you think it's a commentary on where LeBron has gotten that the central criticism of him has become, hey, why don't you do everything on every play?
It's weird when he doesn't. I mean, we're at the point now with Cleveland's offense where it's so inefficient for LeBron not to have the ball. Why do anything else? So, yeah, and the Celtics, you know, to their credit, they know what's coming. They've thrown a lot of good options at LeBron, but he's at that point right now where he realizes he has to do everything, and he's getting it done. And unfortunately for Cleveland, they're just not getting anything out of anyone else right now. Kevin Love, Kyle Korver, J.R. Smith, George Hill, they're all leaving them wanting for more.
Jeff Green has been terrible. The best thing Rodney Hood has done as a Cav is refuse to enter a game.
That was well played.
Yeah. Now, when you're talking about the Rockets, you mentioned them. I keep convincing myself, or I was trying to convince myself, hey, at least show me you have a chance in this series.
Yeah.
If the Warriors run over them, like I think both you and I expect them to, would that whole Houston season have been a waste?
No, I don't think it was a waste because I still think they're going to end up being the best challengers to the Warriors. And if you are going to construct a team to beat them, doing someone that does a lot of the same things and has that, you know, versatility on defense, I mean, the Rockets are the blueprint. The problem is you can't out-Warriors the Warriors. The Rockets are not as good at doing what the Warriors do. So I still think that the way Houston plays, trying to get that mismatch every time down, utilizing Harden and Chris Paul, that's the way to do it. But the problem is, barring an injury, it's just not going to be enough.
Can't outplay a player. This rap stuff as a layup. Is that
100%. 100%.
Right. Now let's move into some hypotheticals. Okay. I'm going to give you some scenarios and we're going to discuss them.
Right.
The first one being the Phoenix Suns land the top spot.
Yeah.
The Phoenix Suns land the top spot in the NBA draft lottery. Let's say they select DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah.
Is that the right pick?
I'm torn on this because the Suns really have one of the biggest dilemmas at number one in recent years. I mean, you've got the hometown kid, DeAndre Ayton, played Arizona, sure makes a lot of sense, looks like, you know, the closest thing to Anthony Davis kind of out there. But Luka Doncic, you have his coach. You just hired him. Are you really going to hire Doncic's coach and not pick Doncic? I think that's the way to go for them. I think taking Luka is the right way. And we traditionally think you're supposed to take the big man with that number one pick. You build around the big man. But look at who's left in the playoffs right now. You got to have a guard. You got to have someone dominate the ball, and I think Devin Booker would probably play better off it.
Yeah, it's almost the opposite, actually. I mean, I worry about big men. Even a guy as talented as, say, like Joel Embiid,
yeah.
I worry about them in specific matchups because it's been shown if you put some of these quote-unquote traditional bigs in space, they really struggle. So if the talent gap isn't huge, I go with the best available wing or playmaking guard.
Yeah, 100%. You're right. Look at the playoffs. Those guys get run off the floor. Unless you're a transcendent talent and you force the other team to match up with you, it's not going to work. So if I'm the Suns, I take a long look at Luka. I won't pretend to be a draft expert and say he's going to be the better player, but just judging where the NBA is going, it seems to make more sense.
All right, let's get to our next hypothetical, and this one involves the aforementioned Warriors from before.
All right.
LeBron James and Kawhi Leonard need to team up to defeat the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Kawhi Leonard's going to have to play in that scenario, so let's not forget that aspect of it as well. But I do think we're at the point now where something monumental is going to happen this offseason, just as it kind of has in recent years, you know, with KD going to the Warriors and such. It just feels like something big is going to happen, and this postseason has kind of reinforced you're not going to beat the Warriors. And the Celtics, God, what are they going to be when Hayward and Kyrie comes back? We need to do something drastic to compete. And whether it is going to Philly or Houston or something, I think someone's going to have to really make a big move to make a splash.
This is why Kawhi is so intriguing to me in this scenario, because every time one of these teams is playing the Warriors, you say, what do they do with Kevin Durant?
Right.
Because he's roasting everybody in one-on-one coverage, and most teams don't have someone that can stay with him the whole game. And let's say it was the Cavs against the Warriors. LeBron can't do what he does on offense and cover Kevin Durant. That's ridiculous.
He'd be dead by halftime.
On a team with Kawhi Leonard, you do have somebody that you can say, all right, go get that guy.
And look at the Rockets. They have guys who should, you know, in theory, really, you know, go well against Kevin Durant. They have Trevor Ariza, Luke Mbah-a-Moute, PJ PJ Tucker, these aren't bad options to throw at Kevin Durant. He's just that good. Kawhi Leonard might be, well, maybe the only guy that really matches up well and you can leave him on an island.
All right, and finally, I know you've been looking forward to this hypothetical.
I have been.
Yesterday, when I was talking about the Golden State Warriors,
Yes.
for effect,
Okay.
I referenced the Dream Team and how they would beat the Dream Team, but I also happen to believe that.
Okay.
So the 92 Dream Team against this year's Golden State Warriors, am I crazy for thinking the Warriors could best the Dream Team?
Of course you're crazy. Come on. Yeah, it's the Dream Team. Everybody's in their prime. You got MJ, you know the guys.
Bird and Magic were not in their prime, though.
All right, well, MJ's in his prime, though, right?
Yes, MJ's in his prime.
Michael Jordan's in his prime in 92. Imagine what it would be like if they played together for 3 years, got the chemistry, went to training camp, played the Bucks on random February nights. I mean, this team, yeah, they'd win 74 games. I'm going to go ahead and say it. They'd win 74.
Well, the Warriors won 73 before Durant got there, by the way.
True.
And when you're talking about just saying it's the Dream Team, here's my response.
That's my whole argument, by the way.
That's probably the greatest team ever assembled for what they meant to the sport if you're just talking about the star power.
Right.
But head up, 25 years of athletic advancement. 25 years.
I know.
In addition to the game is not remotely the same. I don't think people understand the difference in the volume and the explosion of the three-point shot. I mean, Steph Curry's making as many threes in a year as Magic Johnson made in his career. So how do they keep up with that when the space of the floor is occupied differently? You know, it was a much smaller area with those traditional bigs that are easier to guard those post-ups. I don't know if they could score with the Warriors.
It's tough to project because, like, if Clyde Drexler played today, would he be the same player? Would he shoot way more threes? I mean, Aaron frickin' Baines is hitting three-pointers in 2018. Imagine what those guys would be doing. I mean, Charles Barkley would probably play more on the perimeter. You'd see all kinds of different guys adapting their game. I wish we could see it. I wish we could just get Draymond versus Barkley on a court. That alone would be worth, maybe we can ask like the guys who make Westworld or something if they can make this happen, because I want to see it.
Yeah, Draymond and Barkley would be a good matchup. I think Barkley would be a key piece for them. Scottie Pippen would be a huge key piece for them if you're trying to defend the Warriors.
There's a guy you can put on Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Come on, we need this to happen. Come on, CGI is pretty good these days. I think we could play this out.
All right, Matt Dollinger is taking the popular pick and going with the Dream Team. I stick by my assessment.
Come on.
That it's the Golden State Warriors. You can catch more of Matt on Crossover TV on SITV.
All right, our next guest was a 5-time All-Star and won the 1979 National League MVP and 2 World Series titles with the Cardinals and Mets. His book, I'm Keith Hernandez, just hit shelves on May 15th, and Keith Hernandez joins us now. Keith, great to have you with us. You cover a various amount of topics in this book, from some of the people that influenced you in your life, your career, some vivid baseball memories. We listened to you on Mets broadcasts, never shy to speak your mind on television. What was this like putting it to paper in a book here?
Well, it was very cathartic, obviously, and you realize that your memory can play tricks on you. We did a lot of research, Mike Ponce and the writer and myself, we worked together on this. Baseballreference.com is a wonderful website. I looked over every box score of every game I played. The book ends in 1980, the end of April. It's my formative years, youth, minor leagues, big leagues, but it does bounce around. It's not in chronological order. We got a little Met stuff there, but mainly it's my youth, my Cardinal minor leagues, my Cardinal days, my ups and downs. I almost didn't make it. I struggled very early in minor leagues, A-ball and AA. I struggled. My first 3 years in the big leagues, I got sent down my first year. It wasn't a yellow brick road, and it's all in that, my journey to the player that I became.
The title of the book, I'm Keith Hernandez, obviously a play on your cameo from Seinfeld that we all remember you from. 20-year anniversary of the series finale was this week. What do you remember about those days shooting? And when it comes to nerves, I mean, the famous scene with you, Elaine, the kiss, more nervous doing that scene or coming to plate in the '86 World Series, say?
That scene wasn't that difficult because they're really all the voiceover, those lines that were coming out of my head were done as voiceovers, so there was no acting involved. I had never acted before. I was a year and a half into retirement, and Jerry was a Brooklyn guy, Met fan. I was his favorite player. You can see he got the concept for the show, created it, this episode, I should say. And I went there thinking I was just going to have a minimal lines, and I agreed to do it on Friday. I had to be there on Monday for the first day of rehearsal in LA, and they FedExed the script to me, and I got it Saturday delivery, and I opened up the script and I went, oh my goodness, I'm a guest star here. And so I had to start memorizing my lines, and I memorized everybody's lines that were in the scene. So I was a nervous wreck for the whole week. I can't say that I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it when it was the other scenes and I got to watch. And what I found most interesting was the creative process.
Yeah.
When we started Monday with the scripts at a table, and as each day evolved until we finally did the final shooting on Saturday, the tinkering around, those 3 other writers, there was also Larry David, of course, and each individual principal actor added there, well, how can we make this scene better? Can we try this? Can we try that? And I was just sitting there watching the creative process over the week, and it was just a wonderful experience.
How many takes on the kiss? 8. So 8 kisses.
I flubbed it on purpose.
Not a bad play, Keith, at all. One of the many relationships you talk about in the book is that with your dad, which described the relationship as a lot of love and anger.
Right.
Can you describe the highs and the lows and what it's like when it was good and how it was when it was bad?
Well, my dad was an ex-minor league player. He was a very good player and a great fielding first baseman. That's how he taught my brother and I. My brother was an All-American at Cal Berkeley and played 3 years in the minor leagues. He taught us how to play first base. He taught us how to play the game. He was a stage father. I'm a prodigy. He had a hard time letting go, so there was always that tug of war. And I'd use that term, I'm glad you said love-anger, because it wasn't love-hate. I grew up in a very, very, very loving family, great mom and dad, great parents. They invested in us. They were there for us. Everything revolved around Gary and I. But when Dad when he lost control, because he was always our Little League coach, and when I started going into high school and other coaches can get me, he was afraid they were going to ruin me, change me, and he started becoming obsessed. And then, of course, I got him a satellite dish. Those old big ones that you had to crate up before they have the new ones.
Yeah.
And he got to watch the Mets games. And that's where it came to be difficult because he saw me every night. My mom was ill, very, very ill at the time, so he was home a lot taking care of her. And they watched every game, and that's when he became involved, and I can help you, and it was a tug of war. Like, Dad, back off. You know, I'm a grown man. It's all in the book.
Yeah.
Times we didn't talk for months. My brother caught in the middle. You know, Mom tugging at me. It's all there, and it's just all part of my life's journey. My dad had my best interest at heart.
Yeah. Robinson Cano banned 80 games for steroid use. This seemed like a guy, a surefire Hall of Famer at his position. Maybe the greatest power-hitting second baseman of all time he could have ended up being here.
Joe Morgan.
Okay. Yeah.
Go on.
I see Jeff Kent on the home run list, and he's chasing him there, creeping up on that number. When it comes to Cano, how does this affect his Hall of Fame chances?
Well, I believe it was a masking agent.
It was a masking agent.
And that's what I've always been worried about. I'm worried that there's a criminal element out there, and there's a laboratory, and someone's going to find a new masking agent that'll get past the MLB protocol of testing. So this worries me. I've been very outspoken about steroids. They'd have no place in the game. It still casts its ugly shadow over this game with the advent of the home run, and everybody wants everybody to hit home runs. I think that Sosa McGuire home run chase kind of jaded everybody. There's just, like I said, if I came up at age 20 at around 190 pounds. If I had taken steroids prior, I'd have been 225 pounds or 220 at 20 years of age with no body fat. And you think that would have made me a better player? I think it would have. So what about the guy that didn't do it?
Right.
And it creates an uneven field. Anyway, it's cheating. And I think that anybody gets caught, they don't get in the Hall of Fame.
Pretty simple. Let's turn to the Mets, who you spend a lot of time with. You're on the SNY broadcast. Their hot start of April seems like a years ago. That's how long it seems right now. Also, Matt Harvey, his success seems like a long time ago.
Yeah.
They've parted ways, obviously, since then. Now the Mets traded Harvey to the Reds. So many issues with Harvey. The talent was there from starter to bullpen this year. Was there a point this year where the marriage between the Mets and Harvey you knew was irreparable at this point?
Well, I think Matt made the great mistake of trying to, take Manhattan by storm before he really accomplished anything and put the cart before the horse. And I knew that was going to create a problem for him if he did not perform at that level. And he's had 2 major surgeries. The thoracic outlet syndrome is very serious. He's obviously not the same power pitcher he used to be. And a lot of what's going on today, and I found out from a lot of scouts, is that when they scout kids today, they look and see who can hit the ball the furthest and who pitcher can throw the ball the hardest. They don't look for the pitcher anymore that takes a little off here, doesn't throw 97. And these hard throwers on these pitch counts, they run them out there, all out, every pitch, and I don't think the arm can take that over time. And then when they lose that little bit of miles per hour, and all it takes is a little for a hitter to have a little extra split second to track the ball. They don't know how to pitch. I see so many pitchers today get 0-2, and if I'm 0-2, I'm in trouble. If I can turn that count around, that at bat around, and make it 2-2, particularly late and close men on base where I can hurt a pitcher, and I can turn it to 2-2, I've turned the tables. Yeah. It's advantage for me. So these pitchers now who are throwers, they don't know how to pitch to the corners, and then they become nice to hit.
Yeah. Lastly, let's wrap up with something that's very important to you. You recently rejoined Twitter,
yes,
which has been fascinating for many reasons. But the baseball world, the sports world has been introduced to your cat,
yes,
Haji. Keith. How do you describe your relationship with Haji? I mean, you show Haji, I believe this was you going just to pick up the paper in your driveway.
Yes.
This is a special bond you have with this cat.
He's 15 years old. He's a very prized Bengal. It cost me a little pretty penny to get him. He's high bred, and he knows it. I had that cat walk made for him in my house because he's a Bengal. They're made from the Asian tree leopard, so they like to climb. So I try to make his environment as happy as possible. I've known him for 15 years. He's my buddy. I'm not married. I can't have a dog. I travel too much. I grew up with cats and dogs. I love animals, and Haji's my buddy.
I've been pitching around here, Keith, a reality show for SITV. Keith and Haji.
You're not the first one to say that.
Oh, that would be a huge hit. With the other stuff that's on television now, I'm turning into Keith and Haji ahead of that. The book is I'm Keith Hernandez. It's out in stores. It's already in its second print after 1 day. Check it out, Keith Hernandez. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
You follow Keith and Haji on Twitter?
I actually like cats more than dogs. So
It's a great follow. We'll see you tomorrow, 10:30 Eastern. Rockets.